It's a fascinating place because since it's at kind of the corner of different parts of the world, or is it Central Asia, is it former Soviet Union, is it European, is it Middle Eastern? And depending on who you talk to, there's a little bit of each of those different parts of the world, and it's all brought together here in Baku.
I think that it is a fantastic mix of cultures because you have the Soviet influence as well as the old Persian.
The history and the people are warm, varied, and incredibly hospitable, and they want to know as much about your country as we want to know about their country, so it's really a fabulous community.
Baku is a rapidly developing city. There's a lot of new building going on, but it still has a heart that goes back to the 12th century and earlier.
People just have no idea. They think Baku is a small city, and you have to cover yourself, and then you come here and you say it's nothing like it. It's an enormous city.
It's a city that's dynamic, and its face is changing, and I see a bright future for the city.
Those who come here are very pleasantly surprised to see the city, the old walled town at the center, and then some of the grand architecture from the 19th century, the original boom here, the amount of greenery around the city.
You walk around and you see these buildings that look like they're straight out of Italy or straight out of old-time Europe, just placed right in the middle of two Soviet bloc apartments. It's fascinating, absolutely fascinating.
You can kind of feel the Persian influence, and it's really beautiful. It merges with kind of Western buildings, and the architecture is amazing. So there's a lot of kind of contrast in Baku. It's a city of contrasts.
And if you know your history, this is kind of where the oil fields started. This is the original place. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, this was the largest producing oil province in the world. This is where it happened. Baku now in Azerbaijan is kind of re-emerging like the way it was before, and it's pretty exciting to see. You can see the old oil fields and you can see the brand new oil fields. Pretty interesting place right now.
And so if you want to come and live history, this is exactly the place where you want to do that right now.
Where are you going to get an opportunity to work on a brand new oil field that no one else has done yet? Where are you going to get the opportunity to be part of something that's building and coming in right now when it's starting? Where are you going to get that opportunity? Very few places in the world. Right here you can.
Well, if you're the kind of person who wants to be in the thrust of action and really contribute to something bigger than just their job, I think this is a great time and place to be here.
Need people who have vision, people who are excited about the future, people who have a lot of drive and a lot of imagination, people who like mixing with other cultures as well.
I think that the scope and scale of the projects that we're working on here in Azerbaijan are really world class, and in my 30 years of working in the oil and gas industry, I've never encountered such a rapid buildup and pace of project work and moving into operations. So if you're excited about getting 10 years of experience in 3 years, this is exactly the place you want to be.
We're going from projects into operations. We're still in transition mode, so it's a very good opportunity to come and help set up the future of operations. So if you come now, you can really influence what this place is going to look like in the next 30 years.
The opportunities here are amazing. We're going to have 1 million barrels a day of production. We're going to have a BCF of gas going to shore at Sangashel every day of every week of every year within the next few years. Massive opportunities for a whole range of people, from commercial people, engineering people, petroleum engineers, drillers, just amazing cross-section of opportunities for both nationals and expats alike to grow and develop.
We've got a variety of operations that we can have people who can focus on specialties or who can simply be doing line delivery roles in the drilling teams with some great technical challenges that they may not necessarily see elsewhere in the company.
Petroleum engineer that wants to come out here, even someone who's had only 4 or 5 years experience and who's going around the company thinking, where is it that I can really learn most new things, where can I get a lot of new skills, where can I apply my knowledge? Quite frankly, there's not many places in BP today where you can do all that, and certainly ASSPU is the one place in BP where there's absolutely no shortage of learning and challenges and delivery that you can hang against your name.
If you join BP in Azerbaijan, then you have the ability to demonstrate what you can do in making the most of that value from the investment that BP's ploughed into this region over the last 5 years or so.
Having gas production of this scale in Azerbaijan is going to make a big difference to the people in this region. To have this country being able to produce its own source of gas and export gas to its neighbors will be a tremendous benefit. Now's the time where we're bringing it on. So we feel very special to be here now to help do this.
The Azerbaijan business is under a period of rapid growth and development, and I think BP expats in particular can bring some skills to the local community here so that we can really achieve our vision of turning Azerbaijan into a local energy company, which means a company that's run by local people who know the country, who know the people here, and develop the business on their own.
You really feel like what you're doing is shaping the future of the people, of the nation, and contributing to the future of the company as well. And I think there are very few places in the world where you can get this.
And to be part of something that's world scale at this point in its development, I've heard it called a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I think for me personally it has been.
If you're going to come now, because this is the upswing of opportunity. This is where you get to demonstrate your talents and skills. So come now before the opportunity passes.
You know, people come under the impression that perhaps the accommodation is old Soviet blocks with, you know, water running down the walls and cracks in the ceiling. Nothing like that at all.
You arrive, here's the place, it's set up, it's a very high quality Western standard, and you're basically ready to move in. All the stuff is there, and you can get on with your life.
We've got family accommodation, which are detached houses, got apartments, Western sort of style apartment blocks, which you know, are very good. And as far as I'm concerned, I've lived in one for a few years now and very happy with it.
I've got a beautiful apartment on the 15th floor overlooking the sea in probably one of the best locations in Baku.
It's very, almost what I describe, a very easy life to come out and live here. The apartments are very, very nice. A lot of them, almost all of them, are walking distance to town center.
We're fortunate enough, we have a nice house out in the Stonepay area. It's been well established, well thought through. It's a great community.
Stonepay in this neighborhood, it's ideal, it's idyllic. There's a safety that you feel here that I haven't felt in other countries. That for me is a big factor.
There are actually 3 international schools in Baku. They all have, you know, a whole range of kids from all different countries. And I think that the education is very good.
I guess you really don't know until you get into the system how it is, but we actually think it's better than the school that we had in the UK.
It's a community where everybody knows each other, where we have, as teachers, a lot more time with students. So my IB classes would be 3 to 5 to 10 students, which means that I get a lot of time to help students if they need extra help, or we get time to push students ahead.
We're able to control the lives of our students from start of the day to the end of the day in a very healthy way. Class sizes are small, and we're in very good touch with parents through reporting and through parents' evenings. The pastoral side of our children's lives is well looked after and we know each child very, very well. So social influences, the kind of things that might happen in cities around a more developed country, simply don't come into the equation.
Generally what we hear from students that are going back to whether it's the UK or the US system, the children are very well prepared and are able to integrate back into whatever system they're going back to.
For our children, they get a good all-round education. We're happy with it. They're happy with their education. If they're happy, they're going to be learning.
My 7-year-old has been, well, since she's been 6, she's been going to school by herself, to and from. That's going to be the hardest thing I think of leaving here, is that they won't be free to do that quite so much. It's very safe. I've never worried about their safety here.
Well, with respect to personal safety and living in a city like Baku, this is one of the safest cities in the world.
I can walk into town, never think twice about walking on my own. Obviously at night I'm a bit more careful, but I'm careful anyway.
People are probably concerned because of its location about security and close to some difficult parts of the world, but it's far from the case. It does seem very secure to me and always has done.
Safety here is like any big city, whether you're in London, whether you're in Houston, which is where I lived last. You've got to be careful.
I get this from my mother all the time, oh, is it dangerous over there? Well, no, Mother, it's not.
BP have worked with an international clinic, which is SOS, to provide some basic clinic care with international physicians.
They're very thorough. It doesn't worry me at all to go to them.
If necessary, you can be medevaced out of the country, but most things you can get done locally.
When you're first moving out here, you start saying, oh, well, do I have to stockpile a bunch of food, and do I have to bring all the things I enjoy? But then actually when you get here, they have it all.
There's probably 7 or 8 Western-style grocery stores that import stuff for you. And the Russian shops have also started carrying more Western-style goods.
You can buy basically all the things that you can buy at home, although it's a bit more expensive. There's other big supermarkets where you can buy cereal, fruit, vegetables, but the best place for that is obviously local bazaars, which I enjoy going to. Loads of fresh fruit.
Great fruit and veg. No excuses for not losing a few pounds when you come to Baku.
And clothes you can get here now too. I mean, it's really improved for Westerners as far as that goes.
They've got some of the high street names, Mango, Benetton, Mex. They are here. People go to Dubai to shop from here because it's a pretty short flight, or when you go back to the UK, which you do go back fairly often for things. I mean, I've come back for training a lot this year. So I guess it just means you tend to do big shops in different places.
And there are great restaurants here. If people enjoy wining and dining, there's some fantastic opportunities, a whole range of stuff. Lebanese restaurants, Chinese restaurants, Thai restaurants, it's the whole spectrum, and they're opening every week. That's how vibrant the place is.
And in fact, people are constantly telling us, have you been to such and such a restaurant? And we're like, no, where is it? We got to go check it out. So there's constantly new stuff opening up and new stuff to see and experience.
It'd be like any other location. You can go out and spend top dollar for something, or you can go and eat on the local market.
To me, it's just like going out in any other city. You've got a diverse selection of places to eat, places to drink, places to socialize, things to do. I don't think you'll ever be bored in Baku.
So safe and easy, that really sums it up.
BP Azerbaijan is a really exciting place to be at the moment. It's got some of the largest projects from BP's portfolio.
A lot of what we're doing here is really leading edge stuff, and it's the first time that it has been done anywhere in the world. I think the other aspect that makes the work here so fascinating is just the scale of these developments.
And this is our largest year this year for startups of new enterprises, from West Azeri to East Azeri, CNWP, Shaktini Stage 1, BTC, SCP,
All of these acronyms are actually real assets. Where else can you work on that kind of?
We've got the development operations, the pipe lay, the installation of platforms, topsides, drilling, exploration. There's the whole diversity of work that's there. You can go and see it, you can go and touch the jackets 5 minutes down the road.
For me, the benefit of working for BP in Azerbaijan, and very specifically for my role, is that it's the only opportunity that I can think of in BP where I can cover 3 countries as an engineering team leader. I think that's absolutely amazing.
Way that projects are managed here, in other words, we take lessons from the previous projects and apply them to the new projects so that we become a much more efficient operation, is exactly the direction that the company wants to go with in their projects, as well as we have some new technology coming into the Caspian Sea with subsea development and deep water development, which is groundbreaking for this region.
We're working on what's called Field of the Future, introducing advanced collaboration centers, downhole temperature centers, downhole flow control, and so on. Expandable sand screens for well completion. So, you know, there's a lot of new stuff going on and will continue for some time yet, because we've got a huge number of wells to drill.
The wells we're drilling are deep. They take 6 months to drill. They're very expensive to drill. We have to take great care with them. They're high pressure gas because that's what we're bringing to shore. A lot of the systems we're using are serial number 1s. And of course we have to take great care with those. But it's tremendously exciting to see that technology coming through and actually making a difference.
Well, any kind of offshore oil field development is always pretty exciting. But many people don't realize that we have one of the largest onshore production facilities called the Sangashel Terminal anywhere in the world. It's massive, and we need people to help run that. If you start looking at technology, there's compressors, turbines, wells, simulators, you name it, we've got it. This is a major new oil field development, and we're going to use all the technology we need to make it work well.
So you're doing things that nobody else is doing, and that's a fantastic feeling. It's hard work. It's a developing area, so clearly there are a lot of things to do. Most of all, it's just a very satisfying feeling when you get to the end of a big piece of work and you can say, hey, we've done this, and we've done this together, and it's going to be a legacy for the future for people of Azerbaijan and BP.
It's all about teamwork. We can have the best technical people in the world, but they need to play as a team, because it's all about integration of the offshore operations, the onshore operations, the subsurface, the commercial. All of that stuff has to come together in a team way to deliver the result.
Part of this job is the technical aspect, but there's another part that's just as important, and that's getting the experience transferred into the national staff, so that we're working eventually to be replaced with people who can carry the torch and bring it to the future.
There are not many places in the world where you can be involved in a piece of business like this, which is of such importance to the country. The revenues that we will generate over the next few years have the potential to transform the standard of living in Azerbaijan and indeed in the region. And to be a part of that, I think for anyone, has to be hugely exciting.
Everybody likes to be busy. Everybody likes to be part of something that's big and exciting. So yeah, so the demands can be high at times, but you can maintain a reasonable work-life balance.
It's a very active social life and very enjoyable. There's close to 50,000 expats in Baku, and they're from all over the world, so you get a lot of social life just meeting these people.
And also the community you get whilst you're here, all your friends you make, that's what makes Baku.
And there's always so many things going on. Loads of parties, barbecues, nights out planned. Social life's much better than I've experienced at home.
If you want a night out in town, your choices are unlimited. From jazz clubs to very good quality restaurants, discotheques. I mean, it's just like any other major city in the world.
If you enjoy culture, there's some tremendous performances here with concerts, ballet, opera, and I've seen some marvellous performances here over the years.
We also enjoy quite a bit the music scene. During the former Soviet times, music and the arts were a highly appreciated commodity, and that came from the Azerbaijanis themselves. So that has continued since Soviet times.
The other thing is nice, if you actually want to be in town, I'm probably actually in the best shape I've been in basically since I've worked for BP. A lot of that is because you get access to the Oasis Club. So that club has everything to offer, pretty much. Weights, cardiovascular equipment, indoor pool, outdoor pool, tennis courts, squash courts, a little bit of everything. And even for the people who aren't that active, on Saturdays and Sundays you see plenty of BP people sitting out around the pool, ordering cocktails and food and pretending as if it's actually a holiday.
Baku is a wonderful climate. We enjoy the long summers. Sometimes when we're by the pool, we ask ourselves, gosh, what resort should we go to next? And it's very, very pleasant.
Baku is kind of what you make it to be. There's tons of things going on.
I've joined Baku Ultimate Frisbee, so you can do a totally different sport that you haven't done before.
We call ourselves a BBC, short for the Baku Bicycle Club, and of course we have a BBC 1, a BBC 2, and a BBC 3.
It got us out of the city, it got us into country, exploring.
It's a great stress reliever, it's a great way to see the countryside, it's a great way to get outdoors.
We love to bike.
The bike gives me something to do in my free time, something to tinker with. It's not the destination, but the journey. Gets you a chance to get out and interact with the local population. They all love us. And it's also the camaraderie that we have with everybody else that rides.
It's also interesting to get outside the city. That's something we try to do every now and then on a weekend, go out and escape Baku and go and have a look in the countryside, which is breathtaking and extremely varied.
You can find desert, you can find mountains and forests, you can find snowpack, you can find mud volcanoes, there's just so much that you can see here and learn here if you're willing to put in the effort to actually get out and do stuff.
Best thing I've ever done is you jump into your vehicle and you go out of the country. You go to places that nobody ever goes to, you know, and you feel like in the middle of nowhere. You actually are in the middle of nowhere.
It really does offer some of the most spectacular opportunities from a recreational point of view. If you're into the countryside, if you're into experiencing a culture out in the villages and out in the regions. Here in Azerbaijan, you can travel independently, you can drive yourself, you can go off and do things, camp in the middle of nowhere with no restrictions. And I think that's, for me, that's offered one of the biggest positives. It really means you can get a very well-balanced work and personal life.
Not only have we really been able to travel and gotten to know Azerbaijan, but we've been able to travel outside of Azerbaijan a lot as well.
To be here in this part of the world is kind of a staging springboard to travel further into the east, into the stands, spend more time in Turkey.
London's only a 5.5-hour flight. The rest of Europe is even closer, going to Dubai or something like that in the wintertime. So getting around is easy.
So I think that Azerbaijan has today a huge amount to offer people as a place to both work and to live.
The future's unlimited. BP's going to be spending close to $14 billion in the area, so the growth is going to be unbelievable.
Still got more projects to complete and bring on stream over the next couple of years. Beyond that, we're looking at renewal opportunities, additional exploration, further development in our existing PSA, so there is still a huge amount to do out there.
These are huge fields, and we're already starting to look at, for example, on Chardonnays, what does stage 2 or the full field development look like? The same on the oil side, big opportunities, there are different horizons to deal with, we've got exploration options. Tremendously exciting if you look forward the next 10 years.
We'll still be drilling on ACG in 20 years' time. The challenges will change as the field matures. We'll have to cope far more with the challenges of produced water, the challenges of gas breakthrough in sand control completions, and that will be a whole new raft of challenges that the engineers of the future will face.
It's different sort of challenges now. I think it's more thinking over the long term and making sure that what we've built we can strengthen and make it better and make it sustainable.
We're early days. We're still early in the ramp up, and we've got a long time, more than any of us will ever want to work. There's plenty of work here that'll be left for these areas to finish off for years and decades to come.
This is only the beginning. There's a lot more oil in the Caspian Sea. There are lots more opportunities for things to develop. This is the first step of great things to come.
You could have a lifetime of jobs just moving around this SPU in the next 10 years.